Hey everyone. So it is a messy bun, don't care hair day. um, so a lot of people talk about, oh, you're the strongest person I know. And I'm sure people on my page are like, okay, I'm tired of the constant spew of positivity. And there is an ugly side to cancer. Absolutely. And I try not to fall subject to that, and I've preached to that it is normal to have those emotions, just don't stay there. So typically, when I have an intense conversation with my oncologist, I usually kind of form into a shell. And Saturday, not only was I exhausted from my trip, but I just kind of formed myself into a funk. And here's the reason why. So, my last malignant melanoma, being stage 3, I had adverse effects for immunotherapy and also the 2 combo target chemo pills that I had to take. And all 3 of them landed me in the hospital. All 3 of them, the immunotherapy, I think, was probably the worst. It started to shut down organs, and I was subject to the hospital twice for that. And then with the 2 target chemos, also had issues and landed me in the hospital with those. Some more intense than others. And I asked my oncologist, and I said, okay, what happens if I get cancer? Because this is a cancerous patient. Thoughts all the time is, what happens if? What if? What happens if I get cancer again? I've had immunotherapy. I've had 2 target cancer chemo pills. None of them worked with me. They worked against me. What happens? And she said, you have to take it. She said, there's 3 or 4 different more that you haven't taken, but you have to take it. And I said, yeah. I said, but I mean, I almost didn't survive. I mean, organ shutting down, major side effects. We're not talking, oh, I have a fever, or oh, I feel nauseous. We're talking life-threatening reactions. And she said, Rachel, she said, we have to try, and we have to prepare and for those side effects. She said, let me give you a story. I had a lady that had surgery, and she said, no, I don't need chemo or any kind of cleanup because you removed the tumor. So she opted out of medication, and sometime later she ended up coming into the hospital with severe back pain. And she kept having back pain. And come to find out, what originally started as just her surgical tumor ended up coming back, and she had a large tumor in her back, and at this point it had spread throughout her body, organs, bones, and within 2 months she lost her life. Okay. So if I get cancer again, that means I have to take it, and I have to deal with the side effects, and I have to deal with chancing. Do I survive with side effects, or do I survive, period? So then the other thing was how I have to have a brain scan. I have to have an MRI brain scan once a year. And the reason for that is she gave me another example. I said, because I asked her, I said, well, how do you know? Like, what are the signs? How do you know that you might have a tumor in your brain? And, she talked about headaches, and she talked about speech impairment and movement impairment and things like that. And she said, I'll give you another example. I had a gentleman that came in, and he's one of my patients, and he was always talking about how he felt and what he was going through. And this last trip, he came in with his wife, and he wasn't really talking. And she thought, well, is he scared to talk around his wife, or does she do all the talking for him? What's going on? So she finally asked. She said, I don't remember she said his name, but she said, why aren't you talking? You normally are a talker. And he didn't really respond. So we immediately went to do an MRI brain scan and ended up finding out that he had a tumor in his brain. And she said her heart was still healing from that because he ended up passing away just in 2 weeks. So you don't always have to be the strongest person that somebody knows. You don't always have to be positive, because there's a lot of dark to cancer. But I do always ask, and I hope and pray that you don't stay in that moment, because it's not healthy, and stress can also be harmful in multiple ways for you as well. So I just wanted to be real. I know I post funny stuff. I know I post positive stuff and constantly saying, hey, be positive. But I'm having a moment. It's passing, and I'm getting up, and I try not to focus on the what ifs. That conversation is still fresh in my mind. So as time separates us from that, it's a lot easier to accept. And my next appointment with my brain scan, it always worries me. So, yeah, I just wanted to be real with you guys. You can be cancer free, but man, you can never be free from cancer.